Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Bhagavatpadacharyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodayasthititolayan Niyadiprataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Surasaukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Madiprabodhan Vadan Nirasakritavan Bhuvitattvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Patipatakam Tam Anandatirthamunivaryam Namami Pujyaya Raghavendraya Satyadharmarataya Cha Bhajatam Kalpavrakshaya Namatam Kamadenave Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadidamastu ma Vishvidavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome, friends. We are on to our journey of Kathopanishad, and as we have come across the mantra 2.3.14, and as we proceed, and we are going to see the highest takeaways. Not only that, and understanding the takeaways. It's not only the takeaway per se. The takeaway per se, because if you just see it, it will all look like a motherhood statements. The motherhood statements will never make it, because it is some sort of advisory. Not, it propels you to follow, because unless you feel it is you are part of, because what has been important, it is going to be some sort of a use to you in your day-to-day life, in your everyday, because activities. Then only, you will take it as, something which is worth attempting it. But we have come across a long way, because I'm understanding this. In this only, and when we are repeatedly getting into the mode in which we will be able to realize our potential to the highest possibilities, the invisible potentials, the invisible sort of achievements that we can do. We have restricted ourselves with our own sort of the bonded restrictions. To remove those bonds, to get out of those bonds, and then liberating ourselves. Liberating is not something out of liberating from your all your sort of conditionalities. It is liberating from the conditionalities of your mind, the liberating from the conditionalities of your attitudes. Liberation is the condition of the liberation from the condition of your propensity to act in a particular way, because that is how because we have to liberate ourselves, because we are being propensity to act in a particular way comes because of the habits. The habits come because of the comfort zones. We seek the comfort zone wherever we are there, and through the comfort zone, whatever is sort of convenient for us to act and get, because what we desire at that point of time, becomes our habits, and it is in the subconscious state. Once it is there, we take everything, because that is what is given for us. That is how we will have to proceed. We go for that. So in this context only, because we came across the mantra number 2.3.15, which we have already, because 13 to 14, we have explained in detail. Asti itite upalabhyatavah tattva-bhavena cha ubhayah. Because when we know, because it's all the Mula Prakriti, what it has given. Once you know, we will have to use it, because whatever the worldly things that is available to us, and experience it to know, by that, we will have to, having that experience, we will have to elevate ourselves, to know the invisible which is within us, which we have not understood, that we are capable of, the vibration in us, the life force in us, the possibilities in us, the potential in us. We could have achieved much more than what we could have, because not only that, it's not too late. Now we can go ahead and achieve what you want. That is exactly the Upanishad brings it. So this is what we have seen in mantra number 13, and mantra number 14 also said, because in this context it says, Yata sarve pramuchante kama ye asya hritistataha. When you are able to give up the desires, that's what we say. When you are able to give that, what we say, you've got hundreds of desires. So you may pick up, the 3 or 4, in the important ones, try to find, even out of that, you will be finally able to pick one, the great noble desire, which will take you to the highest sort of a course of your life. It will elevate you to such an extent, because that you will not be able to realize through any other means. That realization of the happiness is beyond, what the material comforts can ever give you. The material material world can never give you. Even if you have got entire money, can you take a flight and go across the Middle East now? Because it's the war zone, you will not be able to. Even if you have got, will you be able to go wherever you want? Because the everywhere, the restrictions are there. The war cries are being, war mongering is taking place. There is no peace around the world. Even if you go on to go to a hill station and take up your own thing, there also the issues are there. The environmental issues are there, and your own resource issues are there. The water issues are there. Everything is there. The water constraint is there. Everything is there. Even if you have everything and all, it is not that, unless if you are able to use the meaningfully, gainfully, the facilities that has given to you, so that you also enjoy everyone else in the same. Because when you have a final noble cause, it is not only for you, it is for the entire society around you, the entire people around you. It has to be beneficial to everyone. It is not that you only can take the cake and others, will get the shaft. It is not that. The life is not like that. The God has not destined, to you be a special person. All of us are equal. That's why we said, once you take, the view that you are not special, and you are not something, extraordinary, you are like any other being. Your life is being controlled and conditioned by the same inanities and the same sort of requirements like anyone else. So once you understand, that is the final realization. To get that realization, so we will have to slowly be in understanding, the comforts we are enjoying, and the facilities that is available to us at beck and call. All these are only made up, and they may not be there, and they are all ephemeral. They may go tomorrow, or they may leave any time, because they are like fickle mistress. They will not always be available to you. Then you will have to go through the process of, because understanding yourself, what is the finally going to permanently going to remain you, and how you will be able to ferret out your potential out of yourself and achieve whatever is you thought, beyond your scope and possibilities. They all come becomes the realities. The realization of the realities in you is the final liberation. Not that, because the restricted, the conditionalities what you are having, and you are trying to find, the all the make it easy, in the life, that is not that is not the comfort. That is, you are restricting yourself. You are trying, you are in a cage, like a parrot, and you see, this is the world and I want to be happy in that. But when you are being taken out of the cage, when you fly in the open sky and see the, the firmament, the flora and fauna, that is the beauty, because you are destined for that. And finally, that is what the liberation you have to achieve. This is exactly has been brought about, because in this particular mantra, because this is what, because one of the why they are telling, because yatha sarve pramuchanti hridayasthotu, because we also see that the desires, will let, when you are not having a desires, you get the amurtatvam. Otherwise, because atha martya amurtatvam bhavanti yatra tatra, that is atah martyah amurtah bhavati atra brahma sama ashnuti kamaha ye asyatita. Once you give it up, ata martyah, because all of us are, because we will all be, finally the body has to go, and it has to go. Martyah, we are all, because we will be here for some time, and when we have to go, ata martyah amurta bhavati, because to realize our sort of unlimited potential, unlimited liberation, because when this is how it will come, only when you realize you are not the body. You are not the body, and because the organs made of, and you are not the being, all the, because the sensibility senses, which is governing, your activities, and the sensibilities which are propensity, which gives the propensity for the senses to activate, they are more subtle, like sabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha, because the touch, feel, and the light, hear, and talk, taste, and all those things that comes about and makes you, because part of this world. Once you know, because these are all the ephemeral, you are not the part of all those things. You are much beyond that. To understand that, because that happiness is much beyond. That is why, because how will you be able to? Because that is invisible. Because I can take an ice cream, and I can take a rabdi, and I can take a jalebi, and right away, enjoy it. Why should I, because the invisible, I don't know what it is. So now why should I be? Because, but what happens by taking the remedy and once you are taking a limited and then, because you are doing it, otherwise you become a diabetic. If you are a diabetic, you are prohibited from taking any of these things. If you are not a diabetic, you will become prone to diabetic. If you take, within the limited quantities, you will be able to balance both. The balancing is what finally being brought up. Balancing all, because all your comfort, yes, it is there. Because when it is available, it is there. And if it is required, if it is very hot, I need a fan. That's all. I don't need to unnecessarily, if it is okay, to be with a fan, and why should I go for an AC? But when I don't need even an AC, I go for an AC, because that I want to, because pamper, my senses and sensibilities. So I become controlled by them. Instead of you are able to control them and they control you, you become in a sort of a subordinate to your sensibilities and senses. It says, take away all those things, then you get liberated. And why that, because this has been brought about in that is why, because the mantra went further, Yata sarve pramuchyante kama yesa hatis ye asya hirti. Whatever, because in the inner, in the kernel of your heart, in the heart of your heart, though you may claim, because I don't have any desire and all those things, you will still have some desires left. And you're not exhausted that, because you kept this, because it is that, because you are not able to give up, because you are so attached. More than yourself, when you are attached to your desires. But you are not the desires. Let's understand, you are not the desires. Desires come out of our ignorance. But we are trying to pamper our ignorance so that the desires are flourishing. If you allow the desires to flourish, your ignorance can be pampered, and you will continue to be the endless, the ignorant soul as you are, without realizing your true potential and the true self, and knowing your own true existence and possibilities. This is exactly, because this is, then to bring about, because by aligning to the ways of the world is always, because it's difficult for us, because we are only used to the ways of the world. The Upanishad wants you to come out, wants you to extract you out of your own ignorance, take you to the highest possible wisdom. Then, because then you will know how great you are. You are limited by your own thoughts. You say, no, I can't live without AC. I can't live without a car. I can't live without this. I can't live without that. Well, it is not you. It is, the comfort of the body. You give the minimum comfort that is required for the body, because which has to be kept in good fit, the fine fettle, so that you are able to experience. Your organs are all good enough, because even to grasp, because whatever the knowledge you have to undergo the experience, understand the world. But at the same time, because the liberation gives you, not to oscillate. You don't get wobbled. You become, because always, like a rock of Gibraltar, what I was telling, you will be unassailed. You will be kept in your on your footing, because you will not be losing your mooring, because that is what exactly that has been brought about. So that is what, we are trying to do that. Why it is that? Because that will be explaining, and because the further, the explanation that is coming about the Upanishad, it will be mind-boggling. It will be taking us, it is showing us the possibilities which we hitherto would not have understood, with our own experience in this world. That is going to be the most beautiful part of this Upanishad. Ata martya amurto bhavat bhavati atra brahma asnush. The mortal becomes immortal and attains the highest possibilities of the identity, because unassailment, because where you are able to get, where you are able to be taking everything, in the world, and accept everything in the world, and you are always able to focus on right away in front of you whatever is there, without being conditioned by the past, or without being unnecessarily worrying about the future. When you are able to work through the way as it available to you, that is the flow. The flow. There is a book called Flow, the very famous, the sort of a neuroscience, neuroscience book. It's being referred to the psychological, the treatise, that's coming about the flow. You will have to flow without being bothered about what is happening in the bands. But when you are flowing, you will be going through, you sort of mountains, you will also be getting into the crevice, and you will also be getting into sort of uncharted course, and it will all take you, but you will be going with the flow. When you are going with the flow, you will not be bothered about why the hills are there, why the crevice is there, why it is preventing. Still, you will be overflowing and you're going, and a river doesn't bother about the flow. So when you are able to go through the flow of the life, because that is the final. If you are able to go through the life like a river, without being bothered about as it comes about, accepting everything, going about, because very out, whether it is a crevice or whether it is a hill or whether it is a sort of undulated surface, you go through everything and all. Even if you will have to go through, because the difficult desert, because a part of it, and then again getting into the highlands, you will all be going through, because going through the life, because but that how it will be happening, you accept everything, whatever it happening, don't know why it is happening. Why and how will never have any answer. A river, if it asks why and how, it will not be able to flow as it flows, because during the course, all the great rivers, Amazon or Ganga or all other rivers, because Danube, they are all flowing through the place, as it goes up. There are a lot of places that is a lot of, because disturbance is taking place on the banks, and during the course, because there are a lot of, because like Strait of Hormuz, even the sea, because there, and of course, the disturbances are there, but the sea is not bothered. It is always willing to take everyone who come through that. It is the one who are using it, making it. We are like that. We have been given a beautiful path, but we are trying to make our own constraints and trying to prevent us, from going through the flow, and we are always, being bogged down, and we are being, like a cesspool. We are suffering, because into whatever we think, because it has to happen, that is what we are not able to realize. We don't realize, we are like a river. We will have to flow, without any sort of a unrestriction, without any restriction. We should go through in full swing. This has been brought about, because this is because why, because for why it happens, because we are, as because we have been brought about, we are the personification of the happiness. We have got every right to be, because every moment to take every moment to be happy in this world. Because because the soul is in, because it's immortal, it is always sanatana, it is existing. When it is existing, and the body is, in between, it has come. Why the body is, we have to assume the body and come here and face all these things. Of course, we know the theory of karma, and the next, because next week we will explain how our entire, because our mindset, our own activities, our own way of living, how it controls, because our rebirth, and how it controls, our liberation, how it can be used, to attain the highest possible happiness, which is our birthright. We'll all see because the next week. But here, before attaining, because what we say, the yata yata sarve pramuchyante kamaha ye asya hitisita. This one word, though we have explained, it will be repeatedly being asked. Even someone was asking, what is that, because you want desires to be exhausted. Why desires to be removed? To desire, to have a goal, that's what we have come. We have been told like that. So you have to study well and get a good degree, and then, get into a good professional course, and I think, you just get the best of it and get a good job, and get, I think, then if you are, whatever way, if you want to, your family, you be happy about it, go about doing the job and getting into the professional growth, because then you grow one from other, and finally that is what the life, because of all things. But has it ever been, ever anyone been happy, by going through all these things and, reaching a level, yes, I got everything, now no more is required, I'm content. There is always something, because which is beckoning you, which is not that, because the conditions change. When we were, as youngsters, because a simple cycle would be suffice to sort of satisfy our desire. Will any youngster be satisfied with the cycle? When the cycle became very costly nowadays. And, because they will not be, because after all, this is, you find a mobile, because all the two-wheelers are there, four-wheelers are there. They are the one, because that is the order of the day. Then you want it and all. But even there is a very good public transport and all, where you can go, because comfortably and all. But then, because it becomes a sort of a gives you the assumed status symbol. It's not an house symbol. Status symbol is in other sides. What is that? Because for you, you will have to shell out your resource and you will have to take additional burden, and then you will have to do that. Because that may be, because you may still, afford it. You may do it. But for what far? Is it that, because when you are dissipating your mind and energy into those things, automatically it is being taken. That is what it is. The removing the desires come out of mind. How it comes? Desires come out in geometric proportion. When you desire, I should have a laptop and I should have this phone. Then, because I should have a better laptop, I should have an Apple, I should have an this, I should have an that. When you go for that, because then naturally, try to find, because or we are not seeing the utility value of the item. We are only seeing the concept of the item and how it is, enhanced in someone's perception and all. So always a perception is being, pampered. So you become a victim of the perception. To avoid becoming the victim of the perception, because that if you are becoming a victim of the perception, that is ignorance. Once you are trying to avoid, then you are coming out of the zone, then slowly you are getting the wisdom. The Upanishad wants you to step by step take you into the wisdom. So why it is, because desires have to be exhausted, desires, why it is there? So it is because the desires, because what we know, because the simple thing to understand is one, I am not the body. Once you know that, there will not be any desires. That is very difficult because I am the body. Everyone refers to me, and because I spend so much of money, to keep myself, well dressed and well attired and as well as well groomed. Because more part, because the personality, because the all body, ade body, then they say, because body is half, and what you make up of the body, what you attire and what make it, that makes another half, that makes you into your personality in the eyes of the others. That's what we are trying to do all those things. So when to get that perception, this is my, to understand, this is my wealth, this is my body, and whatever happening, to me is I am suffering, I am happy when we do this. This concept, has to be destroyed. How can be destroyed? You cannot simply be destroyed. How will you destroy? Because this is what is happening in the world. So then I will have to think, look, I am a vibration. As we said, the quantum energy says 99.9% of my vibration. When I speak, there are so many cells that vibrate. They are energized. It is coming out. When I am seeing, the so many cells are energized. They are giving me the vision. And when I'm hearing, there are so many cells that are energized. That is, because making me to, because who is that, the power who is energizing? And then, because you are a vibration of that power, the power has come into, because to understand that, because when I am talking, because what makes me talk, my cells are, because energized, so I am able to, it is able to convert the energy into the sound waves, and I am able to produce through my mouth. Basically, all the equipment of the physical equipment of the mouth is proper, so that, it doesn't have any, I'm not able, I'm able to spell out, everything what I want, as much as possible in the clear words, so that it makes sense to others. What is that power? I am the vibration of all these things. And there are so many cells dying in every day. 6 million cells are dying in me every day, and 6 million cells are being recreated. Who is the power who is creating it? It's not only that the energy is being equally distributed all through my body, in all my organs, and I am able to bring out everything together in sync, and I am able to sort of give it, sort of a cogent version of what I want, what I would say. Whether it is Upanishad, something else, and I am able to bring out. Unless I am a vibration, because the body is only an instrument. Because tomorrow, if my throat doesn't work, because if there is some problem, because the tonsils, as I said, then I only be mumbling, because nothing will be coming out. What is that power that makes it to come? Once you understand that, once you, because that is the power, the invisible power which is giving, and by which, because this body is being made to appear, as if it is doing, it is talking, it's seeing and all. Once you understand that, then you get into that, and then you will try to give the most valuable time to yourself. I will be able to give the valuable time to yourself by once you hear whatever the great things, people talk like this in these languages, in our scriptural languages, in the great wisdom that has come about, and by seeing those who are following it, how gratefully, because all great acharyas, the masters, who are all, because they're traversing this entire earth, the terrestrial, who are all sort of exemplified, because the existence in its utmost, because the is the crown jewel of wisdom, that has come about them, and how they are able to exemplify with a very, very simple, and every word of them, is become something sort of a wonderful, elixir to be listened to and acted upon. When it comes, that becomes the highest evolution. Otherwise, whatever, eating, drinking, sleeping, and enjoying and getting the sensory pleasures always, that is not the life. That is why it says like. So why it is significant? Because therefore you have to understand, you have to have an alternate concept. I am the vibration. Well, monastics will say Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Do not become a Brahman with all the infallibilities. You have to be absolutely infallible. But then I can become a Brahman. I can be identical to that great quality of the Brahman. And I can be, something like that, because I am also the vibration. The vibration has been caused by the great power. It has given the energy to me. Once you understand that, and then, by understanding that, you will be able to assume, yes, you are not merely this body. As long as you think, I am the body, I think, because nothing can be changed. The world will be full of miseries. The everyday life will be a challenge. We will have to wait through, and, because went through, because all the vicissitudes that is coming about every day and all. So therefore, because it is wants to take away this, that I am not this body. The body is an instrument, it has come. Why it has come, because it is, we have got the karma theory, we said, because we will have to undergo the unfulfilled desires, unfulfilled ambitions, and then we will have to unpaid acts. We might have done so many things which need the payment. Payment by what? By action. Kara iti karma, it is a tax. Prarabdha karma, what they say, because you will have to pay back, and you will have to go through. Without going through, no big soul has ever achieved the liberation. Going through in the sense, because the what it happens, because it gives you, it creates the conditions, in which you feel, because it's not okay, it is totally, unwanted condition. It's like every condition, once you accept like a river, whatever comes across, you will be getting into a sort of a mode, and anything and everything, will be easily be warded off. This is what, exactly it says. So naturally, the best way to do is, because, because once you do, because once I am that highly vibration, all the knots, what we call, because the granthis, yatha sarve pramuchanti hitayastotu grantayaha. We said Vishnu Granthi, Brahma Granthi, Rudra Granthi, because these are all the figurative philosophical terms, because the desires, because that has been bundled up. They complicated, they converged. You will have to come out of that. How will you come out? You can't, because there is a guardian knot, we used to hear. The guardian knot is, because a king, the guardian, he had, because made a knot, he asked everyone to untie it or remove it. So it is so complex a knot, you will not be able to, you get into you are converged, you are conflagrated, you will not be able to come out, how to do it. I think it seems, the great Alexander the Great, when he was asked, he sent in one arrow, and then, because it just cut across, cut asunder. As it happened, that the knot was removed. I think, because that is how the knot is removed. This may be sadhyo, the sadhyo mukti, because that is a concept, because the Advaita says, because suddenly you realize, you are not the body and all, then all the knots are. But it can also be, when you remove the knot, it can also create dangerous conditions. So it will also take you to the unwanted, the fallouts that may take place also. So how to do it? That's why we saw earlier, it is only the Guru. The invisible, to understand the invisible, whatever we are thinking, the invisible greatness of ours, the invisible potential of ours, the invisible sort of a rock of Gibraltar in us to be unassailed in every condition. That is all in us, can be shown and brought out, to our realization by removing the ignorance by only a guru. Because he will know, because how your mindset is there, how your attitude are there, he will slowly remove it. He will bring the concepts. The ignorance will be slowly removed. Once it is removed, I think you will not be hankering after, what is available in front of you in this material world. You know the utility of the world. All the material things have got the utility. You will have to use it. All the, because the Mandel periodic table, will be meaningless if all the elements, because he has put a table of all the elements and even new elements are being, because found out, they will have to be put to use. That's all. Put to the right use. That's all. But you are not going to hog all the elements, to yourself and be a king of the world. You can't be. Some of the elements, will so powerful radioactive elements, they will just simply eat away, your body and all. So it's not that, the entire material thing is, because they are all coming out, in the different combination permutation at the atomic level, because all of us are having the same base. The base, because afterwards, because like molecules, because they are all the formulation of the various molecules. And when the liberation comes from the molecules are being disassembled, and finally we get into the atomic stage. And you are unassailed in the sense you are getting into the atomic stage. What they call, Aham Brahmasmi, so you don't become a Brahman. Okay, you get the quality like everywhere else, because then you unassailed. You are at the atomic level. You are not a combined molecule, because the holding, particular conditionalities in you. You have untied granthis. You have removed it, because not by an arrow, but by slowly understanding, because the ignorance has been taken out by a guru, or, because the mentor, or the great Upanishads, which has brought the great concepts to us. By that, we will have to taken it out. And finally, we come into this. So their desire is the signature of incompleteness. We all have to some degree of feeling of lack of joy or zest in life. क्या है चलता है, that means there is no zest in life. They say, you want to daudna hai, that's what we want. So then, we take, let me do this. Then what you do, you indulge in some activities. So naturally, the best way to try to smarter, because that by taking recourse to some sort of exciting activity, what it does, it provides titillation. It provides, provokes the desire. But then it takes away the performance. It provokes the propensity to act is there, but then it takes away the performance. Finally, you always end up, I did that, it became miserable. I thought, I did, and I put my entire capital into this, I did that, because then, you have not listened to your own voice. You lost the ability to listen to your own voice. You've got the intuition. When you are able to give some valuable time to a self-reflecting or meditation or something like that, you will be able to get the right idea. Am I doing it? Because you will be able to discriminate what is right and wrong. You will be doing it. But instead of that, you get into that, jump across. Then finally you find, because I didn't know, because why it is happening to me, because it has not happened to someone else. Because when it has not happened to someone else, because you will know, because how many battles he has lost. But he might have won a war. But because you are losing the battle, you think you will have to win every battle. You will not be able to win every battle. You will have to understand yourself. You've got a limitation. The limitations can be removed only by intuition. Intuition will come only through self-reflection. Self-reflection will come through giving some valuable time to yourself. Why always, I will have to do that, because bundle marna hai, isko ye karna hai, wo karna hai. तो अपने आप को सोचो, अपने आप को देखो, what am I, because what am I doing, am I spending my time, because even if I have to live 100 years in this world, it is 36,500 days. I have already lived about 25,000 days, and another 10,000 days are there, of which, because 5,000 days, because in terms of the 8 hours of sleep will go away. and balance left is only in 5,000, because 5,000 days, out the 5,000 days are only 30% only I will be able to effectively utilize. Now, otherwise, I will have to give my time to the family, this and that and all. Why don't you try to do self-reflect yourself? Why don't you try to meditate? Give some time to yourself. Why don't you at least, because just to hold your hands and think of, whoever the God, because irrespective of the religion or caste, creed and all, whatever the power you think, because which is going to be the other, which is giving you the enough energy and all, think over it that, and then think on what is in front of you. And if you are in having some sort of, the problem, because think of that and get the intuition, go by that. If not, because you may not be a good, because if you are not first, you go by first. Someone else who have achieved, then try to learn from their experience. Try to adopt it. Don't try to blindly go through the world, because as someone has done it, or you wanted it to happen, because you are longing, you are hankering for all your comforts and all. The comforts are the biggest enemies of life. But the comforts, as long as you take it, because need based, and because then forget about it. You can give bye bye to comfort, but the comfort will not give bye bye to you. Finally, likewise, if you don't understand, because you think I am the body, and the body will give bye bye to you, because but then you will not be able to give bye bye to the body. So once you attain the stage, even the whatever happens to the body, you will have to cure the body, everything and all. But because you will not be unnecessarily, because giving undue attention to the body, because body is basically the vibrations behind that, invisible vibration. Once you understand that, as long as you have to be in this world, you will have to live like an emperor, go like an emperor. Why? Because you are not demanding anything from the world, and because you are trying to give whatever is possible. When you are a giver of something, because what is possible for the benefit of the world, and you are not going to seek anything and get it from the world, then that is, you are the emperor. Because the emperor, you are not going to beg. So when you go and ask something, for something in the, because the temple, and you are going beggar, because then that's why, because all our, the guards, which are all having a smiling face. Yeah, I have given you so much, still you come and beg to me. I am inside you, activating you. I am activating all your cells. You are a vibration. I have given the identical power in you to pursue the life. You are not able to. You come and beg. You have got to be an emperor of your own vision and life. You've got to know, because you have to take the world as it is. But be a bystander and observer of the world and go about it. Not, because indulge in this world and finally get into the bottom of the mess. Why you should be? No, you should come out of that. You should be in the firmament, flying like a free bird. You're not a caged parrot. So you've got a great thing to go, you can achieve once you got all this. This is what Upanishad has told us. We are not in a caged parrots. We are liberated. We can fly into the open firmament sky, blissfully, because across, and we are meant for that. Happiness is our birthright. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vishvidavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.